A 50K ultra race is an interesting distance because it's just long enough that it involves perseverance and endurance. You have to overcome a little bit of challenge and fatigue, but it's short enough that anybody with a moderate amount of training can finish the race. In today's trail talk video, insert sound effects. Trail talk. We're going to talk about how to be prepared for a 50K trail race. So if you're not already subscribed, please click that subscribe button. You can also now become a fan of the channel by joining the membership. So click that join button, show that you're a true fan of the channel. That is probably the best way to support and help me out. Okay. Last year I did 2 50K trail races. The first one was the Jaimes Mountains 50K in Los Alamos, New Mexico. That race had over 6,000 feet of elevation gain. And then later in the year, I did the Devil on the Divide 50K here in Colorado. And that race starts at 10,000 feet in elevation, climbs over 12,000, has an average elevation of 11,500 feet for a total elevation gain of over 6,500 feet. So quite the race. And in 1 week, I'll be doing the inaugural Red Feathers Trail Jamboree 50K, which has over or about 4,200 feet of elevation gain. And I'm really looking forward to that. So before we get into the specifics of gear and nutrition, training, to be prepared for a 50K race, I am done with my run this morning. We need to get back to the house and then we can get into it. All right, let's go to the house. Kiddos, oh, breakfast. Oranges and cereal. All right, so we are back at the house. As you can see, I've got all the stuff laid out. So what do you need to be successful on race day? I'll talk briefly about training. I'll talk about gear. I'll talk about nutrition. And I'll talk about your attitude, which all accumulates to equal success. Oh, and in case you were wondering, yes, I am wearing a pink unicorn shirt. This is from a 5K race that I did with my daughter. First off, with training. Now, I feel like a lot of people can complete a 50K race, but one of the things that's gonna really set you up for success, arguably more so than any equipment or nutrition can offer, is going to be your training. How much of a foundation do you have and how much specificity were you able to get in during training? If your 50K race has a lot of hills, did your training incorporate a lot of hill work? Does your 50K race have a lot of technical trails? And did you practice training and running on technical trails? Practicing those things in your training is gonna equal a better, more successful, and more enjoyable day come race day. Also, your training volume will do a lot for your fitness. Obviously, the more you're able to train, the more fit you're going to be, and the more enjoyable of an experience your 50K race is going to be. I don't want to get into the specifics around mileage and what types of workouts you can do. It's not the purpose of this specific video. Just know that your training will account for a majority of the success that you're going to experience on race day. As for the gear, let's go through some of the things that you want to keep in mind, and I'll explain the gear that I'll be using in my 50K race in 1 week. So many races require specific gear. Other races may not require any gear at all. So it's up to you to make sure that you're following the recommended gear list. As far as what you might pack, a windbreaker or a rain jacket is going to be Certainly good to have for some of those higher mountain or alpine runs, especially here in Colorado. Sometimes you'll get those afternoon rain showers when you're up on top of the mountain. So having a good rain jacket will definitely protect you from the element, and it's something that you can easily pack up really small and quite conveniently throw in the back of your pack that won't take up a lot of volume and doesn't weigh a whole lot. Another piece of equipment that might be required or useful depending on the run is having a pair of gloves, maybe a beanie or a buff. Next, you're obviously going to want to be comfortable, so having a tried and tested pair of pants and a shirt and socks are going to be key. You're going to want to make sure that you use clothing that you've used in training and you know just works well for you. Don't try something new. Stick with what you know works well and will keep you comfortable during your race. Same goes with socks. Use a pair of socks that you know works well. It's not going to give you blisters and keeps you comfortable. For a 50K, you probably don't need to bring a second pair of socks. You can probably just run in the same pair the entire race. For some of your longer races, that's where maybe you'll want to be changing socks periodically at an aid station, especially if there's significant river crossings. Speaking of being comfortable, big component is obviously going to be your shoes. Use a pair of shoes that is tried and tested that you know works well, especially on those long runs, since we're talking about 50K. I personally, for my last 2 50Ks that I did last year and the 50K that I've got coming up in a week, I'm going to be using the Adidas Terex Speed Ultra shoes. I love this shoe. It's comfortable, offers good protection and ground feel. It's lightweight. It's a fun, fast, agile shoe. This is my shoe of choice personally, but your shoe of choice may vary. Next up is going to be your pack. I have been using lately the brand new Salomon Advanced Skin 5 pack. I also have the Salomon Advanced Skin 12 packs. Just offers a little more volume on the back of the pack there. I like using a hydration vest because it allows me to carry all of my extra nutrition that I may want, some extra water perhaps. It also allows me to carry my phone and some of the other mandatory kit. You can also often carry a pair of trekking poles if you're able or allowed or feel like you need to use trekking poles. The packs often have capabilities and straps built into them to carry these poles for you. On my up-and-coming 50K race, I'll be using the Advanced Skin 5 pack with 2 hydration bladders or soft flasks. I'll be using these ones on the front of the pack, and I'll get into what is going to be in those. There's also other soft flasks that you can buy, such as these Hydra Pack soft flasks. These particular ones have the speed cap, which just pops open, easy refill, close it, on your way. And by the way, you can get 10% off your order at Hydra Pack using code CCHADRUN10. So definitely check that out and use that code. Right now, most 50Ks you're able to complete within the day, and they're typically held in the day. In the event that you're doing a longer race or your 50K starts very early in the morning or goes into the late evening, you may need a headlamp. My personal choice is the Silva Trail Runner Free. This is one that I've used for about a year and a half. And I absolutely love it. It's lightweight, it's bright, dual LED, so you have a nice floodlight and a spotlight that you can use simultaneously. Just a good unit. I really like that one. Just my personal choice there. The other thing that a lot of races are starting to require now are to have you bring your own cup. So I've got here the Nathan collapsible cups. Of course, you can get ones by Hydra Pack and Salomon and other brands. So they just collapse. You can store them very easily in your pack. They're very lightweight, and you can drink your Coke or water or Tailwind or whatever they offer. So yeah, that's that. I talked briefly about the soft flasks that I'll be using on my pack. You can also opt to use more of a handheld soft flask, something like the Hydra Pack Sky Flask Speed, or maybe the Nathan Exo Draw 2.0, I believe is what this is called. Both very good units. So you can carry extra water with these, and then of course they're collapsible, so when you're done with them, they just compact down real nice and small, which is really quite nice. If your 50K is more of a self-supported type of effort, or there's aid stations that are very far apart, and you feel like you need to carry extra water, of course the Solomon packs and other packs typically offer the ability to carry a bladder in the back. I have also used the HydroPack Stow 1 liter and put this in the pack where the bladder would go, and that worked quite well. It just was right up against my back on inside the hydration pack there, and it allowed me to carry a whole extra liter of water. So when it comes to water, or one of the things that I prefer doing is carry one soft flask with just plain water and another soft flask with some sort of calorie drink mix. For example, could be the Tailwind. I prefer the Naked flavor, or something like a Scratch Labs hydration drink mix. On my 50K, I will be using those, just like as I'd mentioned with your shoes and your clothes and your kit. Don't try anything new. That includes nutrition. So don't try new nutrition on race day. Make sure you're sticking with what you know works well for your stomach, your body, and what will give you good energy. One of the products that I feel works really well is the Spring Energy. I really like the Awesome Sauce flavor. It is so delicious. I also like the Speed Nut flavor. I'll also be bringing a Morton gel with me. There's lots of products you can also choose. I really like the Scratch Labs Energy Chews. The Bonk Breaker bars and Betty Lou bars are quite good if you need something just a little more substantial in your stomach. So those are all great options. There's lots of good options out there, good gels. You can actually check out in the upper right hand corner a gel taste test video that I published not too long ago. I went out on the trails and taste tested 10 different brands of gels all in a single run, so check that video, upper right hand corner. Of course, little plug, you can get all of the nutrition products that you see here and many more from the feed. Hit up my affiliate link down below in the description. And the only other thing that I'll mention that's part of my kit typically is chapstick. I prefer to have that so my lips don't get too chapped while I'm out there for hours in the sun, especially at high elevation. And then I will often apply PR lotion. This is the Momentous Amp Human PR lotion. You can also get this at the feed, and it just helps stave off fatigue and muscle soreness. I apply it onto my legs and my calves, and it just seems to help my legs feel a little more comfortable on those high output strenuous types of activities. So I'll put that on before the race, and of course I can reapply it if I chose to at a drop bag aid station. All right, so we've talked again about training a little bit. We've talked about gear, we've talked about nutrition. Now let's talk briefly about attitude. So your training, your gear, and your nutrition will help give you a good race experience, but your attitude is what's going to determine whether you're enjoying every mile or perhaps not enjoying it so much. Now, of course, when you're running and it becomes really hard and difficult and you're starting to doubt your life choices, but I do believe that the more we practice positivity and gratitude in our running, the better our experience will be overall, especially come race day. I mean, you signed up for this race and you are giving yourself an opportunity to triumph over difficulty and to endure challenges and to get to that finish line. And that should be something to celebrate. Not just that end result, but the whole process and the fact that you overcame these challenges during the race and the fatigue, and you were able to make it to the end and complete the whole course. And of course, along the way, you're able to see beautiful places, be with some wonderful people. Just the whole experience and your attitude and perspective around that will determine the perspective and the reason why you're there doing that. So have a good attitude, look to enjoy every mile, express your gratitude for being there, and just enjoy it. Okay, I think I've talked enough. I've rambled on a lot. Let me know what 50K race has been the most difficult for you to date. And if you haven't run a 50K race. I encourage you to find one, sign up for it, enjoy it, and let me know what race you're thinking of doing. All right, that's it for today's video. Please subscribe, become a fan of the channel, and click the join button. There's also a link down in the description. You can support me by becoming a fan member of the channel. That would mean so much to me and be just wonderful. I appreciate you guys being here. Remember to be consistent, express gratitude, and enjoy every mile. I will see you on the next video. Bye now.